There are two videos you guys have been asking for the longest time. Weedle and Starmie. A lot of you seem to think that Starmie could overtake Mewtwo as the best Pokemon in Generation 1. But I always knew that could never happen. And in order to understand why it just wasn't remotely possible, we need to look at Starmie a little closer. I mean, this is the image of Starmie, and yes, now it's close up, but that's not what I meant. What I meant was looking at its stats and its move pool and one other factor. So its stats are fine, actually. They're not great. Good speed, decent special, but not as good as other Pokemon we've used like Alakazam. The one thing Starmie definitely has is a superb move pool. Surf, Ice Beam or Blizzard, Psychic, both of which are same type, at least Surf and Psychic are, Thunderbolt. There's a lot of coverage, and that should help us immensely once we get those moves. Because more importantly, we should focus on its starting moves. Starmie is a Pokemon that evolves via Evolutionary Stone, and these Pokemon barely learn any moves via level up. In fact, Starmie does not learn any moves via level up. So we're stuck with Tackle, kinda useless, Harden, kinda useless, and Water Gun, useful versus Brock. And so we can beat Brock really quickly. In fact, I'm actually going to battle the junior trainer first. And I'll explain why in just a second, but you just have to use Water Gun. As for Brock, easily, both Pokemon are going to be one-shots. But it's after Brock where we really start to see where Starmie's going to struggle. We don't get any new moves. Starmie does not learn Mega Punch, we're stuck with Water Gun, meaning once we do get to Cerulean, Misty's going to be out of the question temporarily. But there's something else we need to talk about. Starmie is in the slow level up group. The same group as Legendary Pokemon, Dragonite, Gyarados, and this is a problem because Starmie really doesn't have the stats to be overpowered in the early game like some of those Pokemon do. It also doesn't have the overpowering moves. And the best place to show this off is against Rival 2. While we do outspeed Pidgeotto, Water Gun is at least a 4-hit KO, giving Pidgeotto ample time to use Sand Attack. It does a lot of damage to us, and then we can use Harden 6 times to raise our attack because we do have the Boulder Badge, and that will make Bulbasaur easier in theory. I mean, it's not even a one-shot against the puny Abra. But worse yet, because Sand Attack had an opportunity to be used against us, by the time we make it to Bulbasaur, we're not even able to do any damage to it. Now, we do win our second battle, and normally I don't spoil it like this, but I'm going to spoil something else. I end up resetting, somewhat accidentally, but what is going to end up happening here is another problem. You see, as good as Starmie is going to be, a base 40 Water Gun doesn't one-shot most things, while Bubble Beam would. So if in theory I could beat Misty first, I would be able to one-shot most of the Pokemon on Nugget Bridge, making it a heck of a lot faster. I thought I had saved after I defeated Rival 2, but I would find out that that would not be the case. Now, you might think Misty isn't going to be too bad, and I mean, in a way, her Pokemon are going to be okay because we can set up 6 Hardens, both to decrease the amount Tackle does to me, and to increase the amount I do to Misty's Pokemon. The problem is critical hits. Well, I mean, in this specific battle, the problem also was that I level up, which nullifies the attack boost that Harden gives Tackle. But even with Starmie, it gets enough critical hits, both mine and Misty's Starmie, that even though I do deal a lot of damage, more with Water Gun than I would with Tackle, I come really close, and yet it gets a clutch crit and knocks me out. And this unfortunately took a lot longer, by the way. This is where I realized I hadn't beaten Rival 2 yet. And this ends up taking a lot longer than I had planned. And this is what I ended up doing, which may not have been fast, but made everything a lot more consistent. Now, I did try to battle Rival 2 and lost 4 consecutive times. So I battled this swimmer. I've already battled the junior trainer, so I have the experience points from Goldeen, but now I'll get experience points from the Horsey and the Shelder, and that should allow me to level up to level 17, and that should make Rival 2 a little bit more consistent. Unfortunately, I don't actually level up to level 17, but I will after I knock out Pidgeotto. So we've been stuck in Cerulean City for a really long time, but by leveling up with a critical hit, Pidgeotto is a 3-hit KO, and we've barely taken any damage. We can then spam Harden, and Tackle will one-shot Abra, and 2-shot the Rattata, and it also will 3-shot, well, with Leech Seed, maybe not. Yeah, it's going to be a 4-shot, but that's okay. We still had 35 HP to spare. And once we get past the first 5 trainers, I think we can try Misty again, because ideally we use Water Gun as much as possible. Again, even though we're a level higher, it's not one-shotting things, and every extra turn is a waste of time. Plus, I'm going to need to heal and restore power points anyway, so it makes sense to try Misty once again. And just look at this battle with this Pidgey. I mean, now it uses Sand Attack. Very annoying stuff. Thankfully, we don't really miss much. Just to give you an idea in real time, I've been stuck here for 10 minutes, which sometimes is a quarter or even a third of the total time of some of these runs. So Starmie is definitely struggling here. Unfortunately, Staryu, Misty Staryu, X-defends right away, but I'm not going to level up, so I'm going to set up all 6 Hardens, and Tackle is now doing a ton of damage. We have 41 HP heading to Starmie. Of course, X-defend right away. We get a couple critical hits, which honestly is kind of helpful. Then we get a couple misses, which is not helpful. We can just kind of go for Tackle, but critical hits only do 13. And thankfully, Misty doesn't get that many. With 14, now 17, with the level up HP to spare, we win, and more importantly, we have a 65 base power Bubble Beam. We will need to heal again, but this will make all the trainers' Pokemon remaining on Nugget Bridge and Route 24 a heck of a lot quicker. So after we're done with that, we then go to the SSN where I make a mistake, but might as well talk about this. Now, I was mistakenly under the impression that Starmie could learn Body Slam, and Body Slam would make Rival 3 a lot easier. That is not true, and not only is that not true, Starmie could never learn Body Slam. Oh, by the way, something I forget to mention, I added this to my runs recently, which is also why it's not always fair to compare the ones from 2020. This one gentleman gives me a little bit more experience points, but also a rare candy, which is why my Pokemon typically are a level higher, because we'll use this rare candy at the end. And this, by the way, is a good distinction between minimum battles and fast. It's an extra battle, but being an extra level higher should make some of the battles in the Elite Four a little faster. So I think we actually end up gaining or having a lower time by battling this one extra trainer and getting this rare candy, especially in the pre-evolved Pokemon runs where we might need to use the rare candies a little earlier. Anyway, time to battle Rival 3, and hopefully he's not too bad. We still don't have anything great for Ivysaur. He leads with Pidgeotto, as always. We use Bubble Beam. It doesn't knock it out, but thankfully Sand Attack misses. Quick Attack, I'm not worried. Bubble Beam does one-shot Raticate, but with a crit. It won't one-shot Kadabra, but Teleport is useful. And I just go for Bubble Beam against Ivysaur. You can see it does more than Tackle does. Thankfully, it only goes for Vine Whip on the final turn before I knock it out with Bubble Beam. But it's not just Rival 3 I'm worried about. Although he doesn't have a Pokemon that resists us, Lieutenant Surge is going to be tough. I talk about this a lot, but Lieutenant Surge, if we lose to him and we can't beat him right now, that would be bad for 2 different reasons. We've talked about the reason that without Lieutenant Surge, we can't use Fly, and we have to walk back to Vermilion. But there's also Slowpoke and Rock Tunnel that if we had Thunderbolt would be trivial, and without we have to rely on either Tackle or Bubble Beam, which would take many more turns. So hopefully my good special will make this electric-type gym leader not a big problem, but there's only going to be one way we can find that out. So he leads with Voltorb. We're going to use Bubble Beam. We don't one-shot, but it doesn't have an electric move, so that's fine. Now we do outspeed and one-shot Pikachu. I don't think the crit mattered, but yeah, Bubble Beam does like a third. Thunderbolt does quite a lot. At least it doesn't knock us out, but then it goes for Thunder Shock. So there's 2 pathways to victory here. We either need to have Raichu not use Thunderbolt, or we need to use Thunderbolt and X Speed. Oh, also if it does that, we need to outspeed after an X speed. So we'll try again. Bubble Beam, X speed on Voltorb. That doesn't actually help us, but we did outspeed. That's a good sign. We knock out Pikachu, and now Thunderbolt. That's not good. X speed. Okay. So it did work. I did get the X speed, but yeah, that was pretty inconsistent. I think we're just going to have to go with that being the plan, because skipping Thunderbolt would waste a ton of time. I don't have any rules saying I'm not allowed to use any kind of luck-based strats, but definitely with how good a lot of you thought Starmie was going to be, it's very disappointing seeing we have to rely on, what, a 1 in 3, a 1 in 4 chance to beat Lieutenant Surge? I mean, sure, we are weak to electric attacks, but it's not quite what you guys were hoping, probably. And speaking of which, there is another junior trainer on the way to Rock Tunnel who is awful for Starmie, because we don't really have a good move to use against grass Pokemon yet. Bubble Beam does more than Thunderbolt, both are resisted, and because of that, we're lucky we don't get paralyzed, but we do get poisoned, and if the junior trainer got not terrible luck, we probably could have lost really, really easily to a random trainer. And that's not the only junior trainer that we need to worry about. There's also the one with the Oddish and the Bulbasaur in Rock Tunnel, and this one does paralyze me. Thankfully, once again, we get pretty lucky and we're able to win, but this time we have to dig out of Rock Tunnel, heal, because I just think it'll be way too slow otherwise. It's a time loss, but that's the biggest problem Starmie has. In the early game, it just has zero coverage for grass Pokemon. And funny enough, there are barely any grass Pokemon going forward. And when we do face grass Pokemon, once we make it to Celadon, we have so many different options. It really does suck that Starmie doesn't get Swift or just one better move to deal with grass Pokemon. Now, once we've made it out of Rock Tunnel, like I said, we're kind of home free, because we already have Bubble Beam, which is fine. We have Thunderbolt, and we could go get Ice Beam and Psychic right now. I actually don't need them in order to defeat Giovanni. His first two Pokemon are double weak to Bubble Beam. We're actually poisoned, not that it matters. And Kangaskhan is really bad special, so it's going to be a 2-shot with Bubble Beam. Now, I actually am going to collect the Super Potion so I don't have to heal. It's right behind the Silph Scope, which is pretty funny. And we're going to go shopping. Shopping's going to be pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and buy some calciums. And I'm going to go to the 6th floor or the roof in order to get Ice Beam. I also bought Tri-Attack. I didn't know if I wanted to use it, but I don't think I'm going to. Still, it is good to have the option. Anyway, I'm then going to go get Fly. Normally I'd go to Lavender, but not today. Instead of going straight to Lavender, we're going to head to Saffron City, and then we're going to go talk to Mr. Psychic and get ourselves Psychic. We don't quite have our final moveset, but we're pretty close, and we can battle Rival 4. Pidgeotto's a one-shot with Thunderbolt, as is Gyarados. Growlithe, we can use Bubble Beam. It's a one-shot. Kadabra, I use Thunderbolt. It's not a one-shot. Surf probably would have been, but we don't have it yet. And we can use Psychic to knock out Ivysaur. With the exception of Tangela, I believe every single grass Pokemon left, actually no, Executor as well, are part poison type. So we have Ice Beam for those. Anyway, we can use Psychic to knock out the Chandler's Pokemon. And we got to make a choice. Where do we want to go next? The answer may not surprise you. It's the Safari Zone. We want to get Surf as quick as possible. It is a super good move, and it's same type. And with Surf, I'm going to head to Koga's gym. Now, I was worried about the jugglers in Koga's gym. Turns out they weren't a problem at all. I mean, Surf's not a one-shot by any means, but it's doing more than enough damage, and Starmie's fast enough it gets crits. So we made it pretty easily to Koga, and Koga has pretty bad special, so we should be good here. I'm not even going to be at full health. We're going to use Psychic on Coughing number 1, one shot. We're going to use Psychic against Muck, also one shot. Coughing number 2 will also be a one shot. I'm not sure about Wheezing. Well, we get a critical hit, so I don't know, but we're going to take that. That's going to give us just a little bit more speed. And now we got to make a somewhat difficult decision. We're not as high leveled as we normally would be because we're in the slow level up group. And I think I'm actually going to go battle Erica of all trainers. She is the 4th gym leader. I actually don't think she'll prove much of a challenge. It's not like we're using non-same type Ice Beam. We're using Psychic, and we do one-shot. We have to use Ice Beam against Tangela, but we still one-shot. And Vileplume, we one-shot. If Starmie had Psychic the whole time, it may have been able to compete with Mewtwo and Alakazam, because you can see just how good it is once it has Psychic. But unfortunately, because we started with just Water Gun, we might have just wasted too much time to even be close. But you can see that Starmie is definitely making a very good comeback and a hard charge towards a good time. So now we're going to do something we don't normally do. We're going to go to Cinnabar before we battle Rival Fivel. Cinnabar, I mean, it's the fire type gym, and if we beat Blaine, our special gets increased. So I think it's a really good idea. Alright, so Blaine leads with Growlithe. We're just going to use Surf. We're not even at full HP. We knock out Growlithe. We knock out Ponyta, and we outspeed. Oh, we don't one-shot Rapidash. That's not good. We do outspeed. Come on. Well, that was silly. I mean, I wasn't at full health, and I got a critical hit against me. That should have been a first try victory. Let's try that again. One-shot Growlithe. One-shot Ponyta. We're not going to one-shot Rapidash. It uses Stomp. That's kind of bad. We only have 50 HP. Is it going to be enough? Doesn't matter. We got a critical hit. I should have just used the Hyper Potion I had. Whatever. Anyway, now we're going to dig out, and we actually only have one place we can go. Silph Company. We've done everything else. So hopefully Rival 5 will be okay. We do have rare candies, but I would prefer not to use them until the end of the run. It's definitely better. But if we have to use them now, we'll use them now. But let's battle and see. Alright, so Pidgeot leads. Thunderbolt doesn't one-shot. Wing Attack doesn't do all that much. We knock it out with a Surf. Thunderbolt will one-shot Gyarados. We level up. Surf will one-shot Growlithe. Alakazam, we go for Surf. We get a crit, and Rival Fivel goes for Potion. And now Venusaur, we go for Psychic. Thankfully, it didn't go for Razor Leaf. I think that would have knocked us out. So that was pretty inconsistent. We wanted to one-shot Venusaur there with Psychic, and we didn't quite get it. But this is where the slow level up group thing is really coming back to hurt us. I mean, not coming back. We don't really have a choice. But the point is, if we were at level 43, which we would be in the medium slow group, we would have easily one-shot Venusaur and beaten Rival Fivel. Now it's a little bit more of a toss-up. Thankfully, it went in our favor. Giovanni number 2, nothing really to say about you. We actually end up one-shotting all his Pokemon. Whoop-de-freaking-do. There's just 2 gyms left, Sabrina and Giovanni number 3. You cannot battle Giovanni number 3 before you battle the other 7 gym leaders. A couple people have asked me about that, but yeah, that's a thing. So we have to battle Sabrina right now. I'm a little worried, not about whether we're going to feint to Psychic, but whether Alakazam is just going to troll us with Recover. I've seen that before. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so Sabrina leads off with best Pokemon of all time. Surf doesn't one-shot, it goes for Recover. And worse yet, it gets to go for Psychic. 33.3% chance, that lowers our special and we would have to reset. Thankfully, it doesn't happen, we knock it out. We level up, Mr. Mime, we do one-shot. Well, that was because of a critical hit. Venomoth, we have Psychic, so we're going to one-shot it. And now out comes Alakazam. I go for Surf, it's only doing about a third, just over that. Recover, Surf, Recover, Surf. Okay, I get the pattern here. I'm going to go for Psychic. 1 in 3 chance. There we go. We got a crit and it lowered special. Now we can just go for Surf. Now because we're dealing more than half, Recover isn't able to recover all the damage we deal. And while it took a little bit of time, we were able to knock out Alakazam. And we can battle Giovanni number 3, who is going to be pretty easy. Don't forget to first go to Fuchsia. We have the Lapras now, and with the Lapras, we can get Strength. Well, actually, it's not that we can get Strength. We can use Strength, and we can get a rare candy, which is important because we're at a pretty low level. We're not going to use it yet. All right, so Giovanni number 3 leads with Rhyhorn. I mean, come on. Surf one-shots. Surf one-shots Dugtrio. We don't have enough Surfs, but I have to go for Psychic. That's fine. We used it against Nidoqueen. We can also use Psychic against Nidoking. And we probably could go for Ice Beam, but I went for Surf. And, okay, we don't level up after Rhydon. I wonder how many experience points away we are. Let's look. 1547. So here's what I'm going to do. I think I saved... Oh. So I saved in front of Sabrina. That's annoying. I'm not going to show you the Sabrina battle again. But there is a trainer in Giovanni's gym. I mean, it's right next to Giovanni. And we can battle this trainer. He's going to give us a little bit more experience points than we need. If it was just Nidoking, that would have been the perfect amount. But now when we battle Giovanni and defeat him, we'll be one level higher. And I'm going to use all my rare candies before Rival 6. So that's going to give us one additional level. Because when you use rare candies, it just puts you at the next level, whether you had 10,000 experience points to go or 1 experience points to go. So by battling that trainer, we'll be at level 53 for Rival 6, as opposed to level 43, and that should be pretty helpful. Speaking of Rival 6, hopefully it's not too bad. We're going to go for Thunderbolt, Quick Attack, Outsped, and we one-shot. That means we're going to one-shot Rhyhorn with Surf. We're going to one-shot Gyarados with Thunderbolt. We're going to one-shot Growlithe with Surf, but this is the Pokemon I'm scared of. I go for Surf, Psychic, no special drop, and it's a 2-hit KO. Perfect. Psychic, I don't know if it's a one-shot. But we did win. So, now we have to get ready for the Elite Four. And I don't really have much to say. Starmie is at a lower level than our other Pokemon, but it has a better moveset. We don't have Badge Boost Glitch. We're not going to use Mimic. We're just going to have to hope this move pool carries us through. Will it? Only one way to find out. Alright, Lorelie as always leads with Dugong. I'm going to go for Thunderbolt. It's not a one-shot. I'm not surprised by that. Takedown gets a crit. That's annoying. So we're at 101 HP. Cloyster, we might one-shot it as bad special. We do. Very good. Next comes out Slowbro. We get a crit. Probably not a one-shot otherwise, but Slowbro only has Water Gun, so that wasn't a big deal. Jinx, that might be a problem. Body Slam, no paralysis. Okay. So Jinx has very good special. I'm not surprised Surf didn't knock it out. And Lapras probably will have to deal with another Body Slam. I go for Thunderbolt. We get a critical hit. That means it would have been a 3-hit KO. That's not good. Actually, probably not. Body Slam. Come on. Come on. Are you kidding me? Oh, I love Gen 1 AI. All right. So a couple things to note here. The first is that in Generation 1, critical hits ignore your stat boosts, and critical hits don't exactly deal 2 times damage. It's approximately, and it's based on your level. So in fact, it probably would have been a 2-hit KO without the crit. I said that and it wasn't actually true. In later generations, that would be the case, but Gen 1, it's not, and sometimes I forget that. I mean, the more outrageous thing was the fact that Lorelie decided to heal rather than knock out my Starmie. But what can you do? We'll take the easy W. Easy. Okay, that might have been sarcastic, but Bruno is actually going to be a complete joke. We're going to use Surf against Onix and knock it out. Now we can just go for Psychic. In fact, we probably could have gone for Psychic against Onix. We can knock out both Hitmons. We can switch to Surf, why not? And then we can knock out Machamp. So, against Agatha, sometimes I'd be a little worried, but Starmie's special is decent enough. I think Psychic will one-shot. I don't have to worry too much about Dream Eater anyway, because it's a Psychic move. Let's see. So, we outspeed, we one-shot, but with a crit. We use Psychic, it's going to knock out Golbat. I'm not surprised we knock out Haunter in one hit. We knock out Arbok in one hit, but this is what I don't know. We'll outspeed. Do we one-shot? No. So I'm going to guess we might not have one-shot the other Gengar. It's lucky that we did because it could go for Hypnosis, and even though Dream Eater doesn't do a lot, Nightshade does. And even though Ghost type can't hit Psychic, yeah, that's a thing in Gen 1, Nightshade is an exception to that because it's a set damage move. Anyway, Lance is going to be pretty easy, I think. I don't really think there's anything Lance's Pokemon can really do, but I don't know, gotta battle him anyway. We're gonna use Thunderbolt against Gyarados, that's a one-shot I was expecting. Ice Beam against Dragonair, crit, don't think that mattered. No, oh, I don't know, another crit. All right, level 57, Aerodactyl doesn't outspeed, and we knock it out with Surf. And obviously, Ice Beam is going to one-shot another crit. 3 crits, all against Pokemon I don't think I needed them for. So now we've made it to the champion for the very first time. I do have a rare candy from Victory Road that I'm going to use. I'm going to use an elixir, and I'm just going to go battle the champion. This could go pretty badly with Venusaur and Razor Leaf, but there's really nothing else I can do. I might have to go back to the mart and buy calciums. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to use Ice Beam against Pidgeot. I could have gone for Blizzard. We do knock it out, though, but with a critical hit. Another clutch critical hit. Starmie does have very good speed. It's about a 1 in 5 chance it gets a critical hit. So keep that in mind. Alakazam, I go for Surf. Okay, Reflect. It's going to be a 3-hit KO, clearly. I use Surf again. Not if I get another clutch crits. At least it didn't go for Psychic. Had I gotten a special drop, the battle would have been over. Pretty scary. Rhydon, not so scary. We're going to go for Surf. We're going to knock it out. Crit didn't matter there. Gyarados, Thunderbolt's going to easily knock it out. Another crit. Holy mackerel. We're just getting crits everywhere. Okay, Arcanine, I don't think I need a crit. We're going to use Surf. We get a crit anyway. What's going on? Holy mackerel. Okay, so we level up. We're going to use Psychic against Venusaur. It's not a one-shot, and it goes for Mega Drain. Easy? I mean, I don't really know what to say about that last battle. A lot of critical hits, but this run, unfortunately, is going to disappoint a lot of you. Starmie wasn't that good at the end of the day. It was good, don't get me wrong, but at level 59, with 3 hours and 25 minutes, it's not even going to make it into the top 10. Nor should it. Its time is slower, or its level is higher, and it's struggled very mightily in certain sections of the game. Honestly, and I not only suspected this at the beginning of this video, but also 2 years ago when people started asking me to do Starmie runs, that this is going to be what would have happened. It's just because it's in the slow level up group, and with a terrible initial move pool, I knew there was no chance it could beat some of the better Pokemon. And that was even before I did runs with Blastoise, Nidoking, and Nidoqueen. I thought at least it might be in the top 5. But as we start doing better and better Pokemon like Mr. Mime, maybe Tentacruel, Poliwrath, or even Poliwhirl, it might not even end up making it in the top 20. But we'll have to see. For now, Starmie did very well. It could have done better, and I'm sorry if it's disappointing, but hey, at the very least, I did the run you all were asking for, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another run in some game. Maybe it won't be a run. I don't know. I have so many videos I'm working on. Take care, everyone.